get complacent, and I needed shocking out of that.
And he has learned how to play guitar much better than when he first got his first one from his mom and
Well,
dad.
yeah, I hope so.
All right, Jennifer, let's hear your question.
I'm Jennifer Jankowski from New York.
Right.
What's your favorite part about what you do? Is it the music or performing or travel, all of it?
I do love performing. I really do. I mean, I love that time when the lights go down. You know, that's always been very, very special for me because I think maybe because life is, life on a day to day, as we're dealing with life and life's problems, it's a struggle, for all of us. And there's something about that suspension of time that takes place when the lights go down. And as a new reality steps forward, and that's the reality that we're creating in our show. And
you opened the book that way.
Yeah.
Getting ready to walk on stage with that performance when you realize we're famous.
Yeah.
This is no longer just a wannabe. This is it.
Yeah. So there's not much to beat that moment, because I know exactly how the next 2 hours are going to go. I know how much fun I'm going to have. But I do like writing. I like writing songs too, and I also like being at home and having lions.
Did you enjoy writing the book as much as you enjoy writing music?
Yeah. Well, I did actually, because I think it had been in me for a while, and it was good to get it out, and it was good to sort of stretch myself and find out what I was capable of. I had a great guy working with me, Tom Sykes, and I couldn't have done it without him because he made sure that I didn't get hung up on, I think I got enough I'm on enough sort of emotional high ground that I could go back and really look. I mean, even at my parents' lives, there was a lot of sadness in there. There was a lot of feelings in there, a lot of loss. But I wasn't going to get stuck there. And Tom, who used to work at Page, I think he used to work at the Post actually. He kept me moving, man. And like if we were getting bogged down, we'd get on the bikes and we'd go for a ride. And we just kept moving, and I think that was probably a good thing. And I think the book it has that, the sense of pace that it has. I have to thank Tom for that.
Writing about the dark periods, did you kind of write those chapters and look back and go, it didn't seem that bad at the time, or did it seem that bad at the time?
Well, there were a few scenes that, I remember that night up on 79th Street actually, and and it was a typical night because I only went out for dinner, and then it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was out of my mind. But that was the night that I called my parish priest, and and I felt that was like, oh my God, what kind of, how would Quentin Tarantino write that? Because it was because that was who I was. I wasn't calling in the hookers. I was calling my parish priest. I was as messed up as I've ever been in my life. And what I really, really needed was that connection with a higher power, with some kind of spirituality. And I didn't know how, at that point, I didn't know how to move forward. I hadn't been introduced to any New Age kind of philosophy. I had no idea how to move forward. So I was looking back to my Catholic upbringing, maybe thinking that there was maybe some kind of, some way through there. But I thought that that was a scene that I thought, if I could write that, and kind of paint that picture of that evening and how that all went down, that could be a fun scene.
It was nauseating, remembering being up until the sun comes up. Yeah.
But do that.
Remember that.
We've got another question from the audience.
I'm Madoka. I'm from
Hello.
Japan. Okay, I travel a lot between continents, but you travel even more than me. Do you have any advice to get rid of jet lag as quick as possible?
Oh, I wish I did. You just got to go with it. There's no.
Do you treat yourself in a particular way when you've got a long trip coming up?
I try to get in it, maybe in an ideal way. Maybe I try to get in a bit of yoga before I leave. Really, because you're going to be sitting. I think door to door for me, it's about a 28-hour journey, and I make it every 6 to 8 weeks. But as long as you're traveling in the pointy end, that's what I always say. How bad can it be?
Yeah, you can afford the comfort now. One of the people that had a great influence on you, is a dear friend that's passed away, and that's Robert Palmer. And you talk quite a bit about him in the book. Talk about him.
Yeah, well, I met Robert at the Peppermint Lounge, actually. We played a concert there, and I'd loved him. You know, I was a fan of his since since I was 15,
Yeah.
and we just clicked. And I would bump into him at clubs or parties, and I don't know what it was. He was a really kind of a very cute sort of man, actually, a very sweet man. And he, I don't know how we ended up doing a project together. Oh my God! I mean, I think I interviewed him. I was hosting a cable show for EMI. I interviewed him, and he just put out that Pride album, You're in My System. And I don't know how it came about, actually. Andy and I started working on another project.
And they needed a singer.
Well, yeah, we were going to use lots of different singers, actually. I mean, the idea was to do something like the Funk Brothers, you know, and we'd have different singers sing on different songs, and Robert came on board, and he sang the one song for us, and then he sang another, and then Bernard, the producer, said, "I just sing it." That's it. But yeah, he was an an awesome artist, very, very creative.
We'd like to hear from Jessica.
I'm curious about what
Actually, I'm kind of just trying to get through this afternoon. I mean, really,
This is the project.
This is such a, I had a really good time putting the book out in the UK, and now we're bringing it to the States, and it's so much bigger, and I've got a few weeks ahead of traveling around the country and presenting the book, and then I've got a couple of months off because the band's sort of on a hiatus, and part of me is like, I just can't wait. I'm so looking forward to just nothing, but at the same time, maybe I should do something. So I just don't know, I just don't know.
You have to slow down long enough to find out what it is.
I think you're right.
Let's go on to the next one, Lauren.
I'm Lauren Castle from New Jersey. Outside of music, performing in Twitter, what do you love to do?
I like to read. I love to read. Right now I don't spend a lot of time with Gila, but we like to watch TV. we're obsessed with, what's that show with Claire Danes? Oh my God, we just watched the first season in 3 days. We can get really stuck into, we like to do really, that's when we're together, we just live in front of the TV set. We just want to be just really, that's what we need. I like the movies. I like going to the movies and like watching football, soccer on Saturday. I get to watch more soccer in LA than I ever got to watch in the UK. There's so much of it on the TV. I can watch 6 games during the course of a weekend.
See, and that's how excited we get about football, the real football, American football. You just brought up Gila. Talk about meeting her, because it was literally looking across the room and there was a spark there for you.
It was, definitely. And you see my foot went up and expressed that spark. And I don't know if and neither of us were looking.
You were both coming out of complicated lives.
In fact, I was looking. I think when I first looked at her, my soon-to-be ex-wife was in the room as well, and
they were separated. We should say that.
All about 4.
Yeah.
We've been very lucky. We connected right away. But then she's got 2 kids. I've got a kid. So then that was the challenge. That was the challenge of that chapter, shall we say? And that was the blended family, the coming together of the blended family. And that's a challenge.
Oh yeah. And she knew that, but you knew she was there for you when she went home with you and your dad.
Yeah, very much. I think that's how you. I've tried to paint a picture of her. She also had no clue about music whatsoever.
I That was
And
funny.
she was so upset. She said she made me look so stupid. But I swear, backstage at Madison Square Gardens, she met Donnie Ienner, who was the head of Sony, and she said, "So you work with Rick Springfield then?" I was like, "You go, girl."
You just imagine meeting the step kids. Duran Duran, and the kids being like, whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
We've got a question from Levante.
Hi, I'm Levante. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised in Budapest.
Oh.
That's where I saw you guys first time, in 1986, 25 years ago. As a man, let me ask this. Are you surprised to still have the same effect with female fans like back then?
I don't know what effect I have, but I'm lucky to have the connection, that I have, and we try to keep it, try to stimulate those connections as best as we can, right?
Yes, John, you are correct.
Correct, John.
No doubt about it. Let's go ahead and finish up the last one with Joni.
Hi, Joni from North Carolina.
Right?
Of all your collaborations, who do you enjoy working with the most?
Well, I'd have to say that, because I think at the end of the day, he's still the most challenging individual I know to work with. I don't know anybody that works harder than he does. I don't know anybody that is as driven, a pure artistic searcher. He's always looking to make stuff, and to take it to the next level. So I would have to say my guys. At the end of the day, I mean that's. We've been around the block, we've all tried other things, we've tried working with other artists, I've had some great experiences with other musicians and other writers, but I still really believe in my guys, and it doesn't get any better than that. And I think and also that sense of fitting right in, that you're not really trying to be, you don't have to be anything other than who you are. I've worked with some fantastic drummers. But man, but my style didn't really. I was really struggling to keep up, or to fit in the way that I fit with Roger. It's just too perfect. So I come back to the Duran Duran members.
This is an Author Confidential with John Taylor, his book In the Pleasure Groove. You said a couple of minutes ago that the story, you didn't want to tell the story of Duran Duran in this book,
Right.
but that story has not been told yet. Might you be telling that story sometime in the future?
Well, I'm not. I ended up telling a lot of it.
You did. You alluded to it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why Nick said he didn't want to read it, because he doesn't really want it to tread on his own experiences. Should he want to write a book one day? I don't know. The reunion was really. That was a really interesting time, and you could probably get a whole book out of that actually, because it's not just because of Duran Duran, because it's something that that happens a lot. That many bands do, and I'm sure what we went through was no different. You could write a book on you could pick half a dozen bands and do a piece on each of their reunions and see what was similar about them. I probably did pick all the juicy bits, I have to say. But the thing is that you got to put your personal spin on it, and it's very much my viewpoint. Everybody else would have a different angle. I don't think that. I don't know about Nick, but I don't think Simon's got any inclination to write a memoir per se. Certainly not one about the band. I think if Simon wrote a book, it would either be fictional, or it would be a book of his lyrics, based around his lyrics. That was something he was talking about doing a couple of years ago. And I don't think Roger's going to do it either. Nick is probably more of a No, he's a film artist, He likes to take pictures and he likes to make films. So that's probably going to be more of his. I'm a book lover, I read all the time.
What are you reading right now?
What am I?
Not reading this very
I'm
second.
rereading Norman Mailer's Harlot's Ghost because I'm on this spy thing, and I also saw Argo over the weekend, some kind of spy obsessed. It's unusually for me to actually reread a book, but I'm reading it on my iPad, so I'm trying to get that sense of what it's like, because I'm not.
Are you more of a book holder?
I am, yeah. So this is okay, let's see if I can if I can pull this off, if I can stick
And this will be
out.
offered on Monday.
It is, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We love it here on Book Radio. We love audiobooks. Maybe one day